PPS, our go-to-market tendering software. This tool focuses on the front end of procurement, that is, before you actually purchase anything. We handle the preparation, execution, and evaluation of the tender, the request for purchase, request for quote, expression of interest, supplier selection, or whatever the terms that you use. It is an automated workflow process. This can be done for goods and services and is industry and specific. Our system analyses multiple suppliers, multiple items, multiple prices and terms and conditions simultaneously. We have on average saved 70% alone in the evaluation time. We ensure that what you purchase has been thoroughly thought through, that stakeholders have been engaged, and you are proceeding with the best supplier fit at best whole cost. So when you do the purchasing, you have confidence that the supplier and the decision you've made are the best ones. Now just a little bit of orientation. As you can see, it looks pretty much like any other website. We have top menus and we have the left-hand side menus. So if we start at the top menus, the first one you can see is the PPS Manager, and under there you have various sub-menus, which we'll go through in greater detail later. Second one is we have Commodity Analysis, and again you'll see that there's different sub-menus. The RFQ Preparation and the RFQ Evaluation. Not only are these sub-menus underneath, they're also steps. PPS is designed to be an automated workflow process whereby a step can't be started until the previous one is completed. So it works in a very logical flow. It's excellent for training new staff, for capability build amongst them. And the other part of the benefits is that if someone's sick or they leave your organisation, you'll always know what stage you're up to. Down on the left-hand side menu, we have an exit, we have configuration, which is all fairly standard with company details, changing passwords, hierarchy of user roles, editing commodities, just another way to navigate, and of course the help button. As I mentioned, the PPS Manager is a really powerful tool where managers can come on and have an overview of what's going on in all their spend. You can manage your product catalogue. You can have a look at suppliers and what the suppliers supply, what products they are, and just the different product descriptions, most recent price, quantities, units of measure, part numbers, etc. So that's a really good depository of supplier information in one place. Your clause library is one of the tools we think is absolutely critical to getting the best supplier fit at best whole cost. This is where you put in all your clauses, your terms and conditions. You do this in collaboration with your stakeholders, what's important to you as an organisation, and then to the actual project that you are procuring for. This also helps with suppliers to give you the best price because you're reducing ambiguity and you're letting them know what's important to you, and then they can quote accordingly. Each of our steps, we have a series of general management documents. These ones are confidentiality agreements, due dates, completions, and some things. You can have a look at supplier history of all the different RFQs you've sent to suppliers, so it's really good for supplier maintenance and rationalisation. We're going to look at the commodity analysis because this is where it all starts. You'll have a look that we go from collect purchase to analyse to selecting the criteria, selecting potential suppliers, and once again we come to the documentation stage. if we just go into a demo one, we can see that we went out for this supplier, and this is a historical look at what they purchased with these various suppliers. So there's a few different suppliers in there, and it just goes through their historical spend. This is just another view, and it's just a much more holistic view. Sorry about the quick swirling, but it just lists all the suppliers and all the purchasing, so you can get a holistic look at this one consumable, which in this case is safety equipment. This is where you start to think that when we go out to tender or RFP, RFQ, what's going to be important for this purchase? Maybe it's delivery time, maybe it's stock on hand, maybe, I don't know, the quality of the product. You'll know for your different product spend. This is where you start to have a look at the different suppliers. And this can be populated at any time. So we're going to go to these guys, and we just simply add them in. Okay, this is a really good tool here. There's all different documents that you can have a look at, but we find that they're really good checkpoints where you can go back to your stakeholders and see if everyone's in agreement about what's happened in the past. So if we just have a look at one for the executive summary, and that's exactly what it is. It tells you the current situation if you're looking at a historical spend, what you've spent with each supplier and the total value of the buy. And it's going to look at the target dates that you've set to run this RFP. And then we're going to have some benefits, and the target benefits for this job were improved cash flow, improved gross margin, best prices in the current market, and then they had a target amount that they wanted to achieve for the total spend. Okay, if we go to RFQ preparation, so now we're thinking, we've looked at the history, we've looked at the past, and now we're moving forward. So the first one, as the name suggests, is set future purchases. So this is where we're going to say we're going to purchase so much of this part number for the next 12 months, over the next 12 months.
This isn't a commitment to suppliers, but it's an indicative amount that you intend to purchase. It may be a one-off, or it may be an ongoing purchase for the year.
So you can work your way through that. We had a bit of a look at criteria before. This is where we are going to flesh it out, and we would have engaged our stakeholders, we would have taken the feedback on, and we will set that in. So again, this is select your clauses and criteria, and if there's none that you like, then there's a simple add button here. Now maybe some suppliers heard that you're going out to market and they've rung you and said, let me be part of it. So you can add them in as well. Of course, back in the PPS Manager, there's a module where you can add suppliers in. Okay, the interesting part now is the setting RFQ instructions. So you just fill that out, and then we're generating the document. We're going to email out the documents to the suppliers. Just bear in mind that when suppliers receive tenders, one of the things that this, under the next module, the RFQ evaluation, it does is that we want them to respond as to if they will or won't respond to the tender, because there's nothing worse than at the last moment finding out that out of 5 suppliers, only one's responding. So we're trying to be a little bit more proactive. Also, when the supplier gets the tender document, it's password protected, they lock it. You cannot manipulate it. They cannot ring and say, what happened, why didn't I win, did you do anything? No. It is completely locked at their end and it can't be manipulated. So if they wanted to give you a price adjustment, they couldn't say, look, just reduce everything by 10%. They would physically have to do it, lock it and resubmit it. Okay, so we're going to start to look at the responses, and we're going to analyse criteria. Now normally this will give you scoring, you'll know what your mandatory score is and it'll tell you if they're plus or minus on that. So if they meet the mandatory score, then you can proceed to analyse by price response. And again, the pricing. And then we can compare suppliers, and we can compare by criteria and by price. Because remember, we want the best supplier fit at best whole cost. We don't want the cheapest if it doesn't fit all the other criteria that we need. And now we can come and we can recommend the supplier. And the supplier, you can have various options. You might choose just to have one supplier and just one supplier that gives you the best overall price. You might choose 2 suppliers, or you might want on every single line item the cheapest supplier, and you don't care if you're managing 50 suppliers, that's up to you. You work the what if scenarios into the different options and it'll give you the results. In this case, BOC is going to give you the greatest savings. And this was actually taken from real data on a nearly $900,000 spend was 54% saving. So you're going to finalise who you're going to go for, and then we're going to go back as usual to the documentation page, and we're going to send out letters of acceptance and letters of rejection. The RFQ can come in as a CSV, so each part number and the new price can be loaded directly into your ERP system. And if we just have a look at the benefit statement, it shows you that there was a 50.74% savings achieved. So without this being a training module, that's it in a very quick nutshell. If we just bring this up, we'll just go through this overview page. So our go-to-market tendering software, as I mentioned at the start, it's for goods and services and it's industry and specific. It is an automated workflow process for whatever you want to call it. It does the preparation, the execution and the evaluation. We always want to achieve best supplier fit at best whole cost. So what does it do? It mitigates risk. It saves time and it saves money. How does it save money? On average, we have saved 26% on non-core and 8% on core spend. We've reduced the evaluation time by 70%. And we mitigate risk because it's transparent and auditable and it's whole of cost decision making. What are some of its features and benefits? It's a good governance and probity tool. It's auditable and transparent process. It retains and builds knowledge. It has a data mining facility. There's extensive management reports. As mentioned, we allow for stakeholder engagement and we encourage it. We weight both the price and non-price responses. It automates and standardises workflow, and there are enhanced supplier relationships achieved because we are being more specific and reducing the ambiguity. And of course, we evaluate multi-line, multi-suppliers and multi-criteria simultaneously.